Welcome back. In the previous lecture, we have created this very simple HTML file by using string concatenation in the form of a template. Now, in this lecture, we will not do anything else. Rather, we will just modify our existing program to do the same thing, but in a better way. Now, let's get started. As you can see, on line number 8, we are concatenating two strings, and also we are embedding this variable name in the string. Now, instead of doing string concatenation like this, we can use the sprintf function from the fmt package to do the same thing. Let me show you how. I'll create tmpl one more time, and don't worry about the naming conflicts. I'm going to delete the tmpl variable on line 8 very soon. So here I'll write fmt.sprintf, and now I'll write my string like this, hello, and then I need to write the name. So instead of just writing the name variable, I'm just going to give a placeholder called %s, and then I'll just continue my string. So I'll write you have purchased a course from Dowtask. And now I have to give a value for this placeholder. So I'll write comma and write the name variable. Now let me just comment out this line, and there you go. We have hello space a placeholder which will be replaced by this variable name, and then I have the rest of the string. Now to me this looks pretty elegant. Let me just delete this line over here, and now we have this. Let's do the same thing for this HTML template. So I'm just going to write fmt.sprintf, and now let's close our brackets like this. Now instead of doing the string concatenation like this, I'm going to just write the placeholder of %s. %s stands for a string placeholder. Now %s is a string placeholder, so obviously after this ending backtag, I have to give the value for this placeholder, and the value for this placeholder will be tmpl variable. Now let's save everything and let's go to our terminal, and I'll clear it out, and now I'll write go run main.go, and let's pipe it to index3.html. Now as you can see, we have a new file index3.html created, and let's open it, and there you go, we have the exact same HTML content. Now let's close it. In the last lecture, I told you that I don't really like the piping thing, and there has to be a better way of doing the exact same thing. Let's talk about it. Now this section of our code is basically generating the HTML content. So we really need it. Now on line number 24, we are displaying the output on our terminal, and then we take that output and pipe it to the index.html file. Instead of doing that, let's first create the HTML file over here. Now I'm going to write os.create, and as you can see, the OS package is imported over here, and here I have to give the name of my file name. So the name of my file name will be, let's say, index.html. So what I'm trying to do here is that I'm using the create function from the OS package, which basically creates the file with this name, whatever we give here, and it returns the pointer to the file and error. So let's write file and error like this, and before I do anything else, let's handle our error. So I'll write if error is not nil, then I want to do something. Now if we have a trouble creating our file, I just want to stop my program right here. So I'll write log.fatal. We are going to use the fatal function from log package, and I'm just going to log my error. So here, if there is any error while creating the file, I just want to stop my program here. And also I want to log the error on my console so that we can debug what's really going on. Now we have handled the error. Let's take care of the file. Before we do anything else to the file, we need to write a defer statement to close the file. So I'll just write defer file dot close. Now this defer statement will basically execute after this main program is done executing. So as soon as we are done executing all the contents of this file, this defer statement will be executed and this file will be available for use. Now we need to copy the content which we created here into this HTML file. Let's see how we can do that. I'm going to use the copy function from IO package. So I'll write IO dot copy, and here you can see that we have to provide the destination and then source. So destination is our file and source will be this HTML content. Now if I just hover over this copy function, you can see that source has to be an IO reader. Now we cannot directly use this HTML template because this is a string. Somehow we have to read this string in the form of a reader and then we have to supply it to the copy function. How do we do that? So we are going to use the string. So we are going to use the new reader function from the strings package. So I'll write strings so that it is imported on top like this. And then here I'm going to write dot new reader. This gives us a string reader, and now this new reader function takes a string and it returns us a new reader. So here I'm going to supply HTML underscore template. Now let me just repeat it one more time. This new reader function takes a string and gives us a string reader. We will take the string reader and give it to our copy function, which basically accepts a reader. Now we have a reader here, we have a string reader here, and we have a destination file. So basically we are taking the content of this HTML underscore template variable and we are writing it inside index.html file. Let me just delete all these files so that we can see the output. I'll move it to trash, and now let's save everything. Let's clear out our console. And then I'll write go run main.go. Now I don't have to pipe the output to another file because we are basically creating a file and then we are reading the content of this variable and we are writing these content inside this HTML file. So let's execute our program. And there you go. We have our index.html file created over here and all the content will be inside this file. Now just to make this output a bit better, I'm going to write the h2 tag instead of the p tag like this, and let's save everything. Let's run the program one more time, and if I see the index.html file, I have the same output, but instead of the p tag, now I have the h2 tag. Let's open this file in Chrome. So I'll reveal it in Finder. And let's open this file in Chrome. There you go. We have the h2 tag and we have the same content which we have generated in our last lecture. Now, if you ask me, this is absolutely fantastic. We are using templates to generate the content of index.html file. But I know you're thinking that every time we run this code, we get the same output. The sole purpose of using a template was to generate a different output whenever we want. There has to be a way to configure this name or the placeholder which we are using here, this one. Every time, right now, we are just giving a hard code value of the variable name. There has to be a better way of doing this, and there is. Let's take a pause here and let's do this in the next lecture.